structurally cruel and inefficient. I mean, that's a really powerful statement, isn't it? This isn't just about long wait times or budgets being stretched. The sources we're looking at argue the entire design, the very architecture of the system, is the problem. Let's pull on that thread and see where it leads.
Okay, so to really get to the bottom of this, we first have to understand how the NHS even measures success. And it all starts with a concept called league table governance. Sounds a bit dry, I know, but trust me, its effects are anything but.
Now, on the surface, this seems to make a lot of sense, right? You reward good performance, you sanction bad performance. But here's the catch. When you create this high-stakes competition between hospitals, you also create some really messed up incentives that can have devastating consequences for patients.
And this slide just lays out the problem perfectly. Under the league table model, the game is all about speed and simple cases to hit those targets. It means that patients who are clinically complex, the people who are the sickest and need the most help, they can actually be seen as a risk to a hospital's ranking. It sounds insane, but they can get pushed aside. So what's the financial price tag for a system that's wired like this? Well, when you start adding it all up, you get to a figure that is, it's just staggering.
Yep, you're seeing that right. Over 61 times billion pounds. That's the estimated cost of systemic waste in just 2 decades. This isn't about a few million lost here or there. A number this huge tells you something is fundamentally broken in the financial DNA of the system.
And just look at where the biggest chunk of that money is going. Over 18 billion pounds on trust mergers and administration. Now, that's not money being lost on the front lines. That's money being spent on endless corporate-style restructuring, consultants, and management churn.
And hey, don't just take our word for it. Respected organizations like the King's Fund and the Nuffield Trust have looked into this, and they agree. These mega-expensive, disruptive mergers that were sold as a way to make things more efficient, they almost never delivered the goods for patients or taxpayers. So this all brings us to this central question, right? Why does this keep happening? How can billions and billions of pounds just vanish with what seems like zero consequences? Well, according to the source material, the answer lies in a tiny but incredibly important change in the law. And here we are. This is the moment. The aha moment. One single word. The legal duty of the Secretary of State was changed from providing care to just promoting it. It sounds like a tiny change, but with that one edit, the clear line of responsibility from Parliament all the way down to the patient was basically shattered. It created what our sources call an accountability void. And that one word change led directly to this, the governance trap. It's a kind of perfect storm where responsibility is so spread out that when things go wrong on a massive scale, no single person or organization is actually on the hook. Everyone can say, I did my bit, but no one is answerable for the whole system failing. Now, the direct result of this accountability void is a system that's dangerously fragmented, and tragically, a system that seems completely unable to learn from its own mistakes. And you can see that fragmentation right here. You've got all these different regulators, the CQC, the Ombudsman, the GMC, the list goes on. They're all doing their own thing, operating in their own little silos. And what that means is that nobody, not Parliament, not you, not me, gets a clear picture of the huge system-wide risks that are quietly building up. This quote from a parliamentary expert panel just this year is absolutely staggering. It says that even when official inquiries find critical safety problems and the government agrees to fix them, there is literally no formal system in place to check if those life-saving changes ever actually happen. And the tragic result of that is right here on this chart. Coroners issue hundreds of reports on preventable deaths. These are basically warnings from history designed to stop the same mistake from happening again. And yet, nearly a quarter of them get no public response at all. The warnings just disappear into that accountability void. So, if the problem is this deep, this structural, a broken chain of accountability, how on earth do you fix it? It's not about another reorganization. Instead, a really novel solution has been proposed, one that goes right to the constitutional root of the problem. And it's been submitted directly to Parliament. This isn't just some new policy idea. It's a proposed change to our actual democratic machinery. The idea is a mandatory public governing record, and it's designed specifically to re-weld that broken link between what a government does, the money it spends, and its accountability to all of us. So what would this thing actually do? Well, you can think of it like a permanent public-facing project file for every major government reform. It forces total clarity from the start. Who's responsible? How is our money being spent? And, this is the crucial part, it tracks what happens when expert warnings are ignored.
And just so we're clear, this isn't just a theory from a think tank. Here's the proof. This very proposal was formally submitted as evidence to a UK Parliament committee looking at modernizing elections. So this is a live, serious idea that is being considered right now.
So the whole point of this is that a reform like this would restore what's called the duty holder link. It's designed to make it impossible for systemic waste and massive safety failures to just vanish into a bureaucratic fog ever again. It creates a clear line of sight from a decision to its consequence.
Which leaves us with a final, pretty provocative thought. We always talk about the problems in our public services in terms of money or staff or resources. But what if the real underlying problem is simply that power has become disconnected from consequence? And if that's true, is this kind of radical, structural transparency the only real cure?